Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back on in to the Blue Collar Psychiatrist. Today we're going to talk about something that is key to life itself. It's called There Is No Redo. This fits in beautifully with another statement, which is, life can only be understood looking backward, but it must be lived going forward. And that is the conundrum here. When you look back, you can see things so clearly. You can see all the mistakes that you made. You can see all of the things that you should not have done or things that maybe you should have done. And it's very, very clear. But because of that statement, that life can only be understood looking backward, but it must be lived going forward, you're at a crossroads here. Because no matter how much you try, even though you understand what you might have done wrong or what you could have done differently, it's not going to change anything. And that is this is the problem that people have. They tend to look backwards and beat themselves up for all the things they did in a way that they wish they had done differently. And frankly speaking, you've got to get a hold of yourself and be aware if that you catch yourself, and you should always have that observer in your mind working. You have to be very vigilant about where you're spending your time, your mental energy. Because if you're thinking about all the things that you should have done, what are you doing in the present? You're wasting time. You're wasting your precious commodity, which is time, your most precious commodity, thinking about the past when you should be thinking about now and what your plans are for the future. Now, it's human nature to do that to some extent, that is, to think about the past. And frankly, at times I might do it too, especially when a current situation brings up some of the things in the past that you know now were not the right things to do. So I say this to you. Remember that there's no redo. Once something is done, it's done. You can't go back in time and change it, because you see, time goes in one direction only. It goes forward. No matter how much you want to, you can't change what happened in the past. You can't go back and repair it. You can't bring to life something that is dead, is another way of looking at it. It's gone. It's absolutely gone. And there is nothing you can do about that except to learn, perhaps, from the mistakes that you made in the past, and to be on guard and to say, uh-oh, here's that situation again popping up. Because remember, these situations will continue to rear their head until you resolve them. And once you resolve them, then you can move on. But you can't resolve it by going backwards and beating yourself up about something in the past. I know that I have done this before. I've done it many times. In fact, I did it so many times during my life that I got sick of it. And that's one reason why I'm creating these videos, because I know that people have this habit of looking in the past, and they often use the words should have. I should have done X, or I should not have done Y. Well, that's great, but you can't go back. There is no time machine. I'm working feverishly in my basement every day, trying to develop a time machine to actually transport myself back into the past, because I got a load of stuff this high that I wish I had done differently. But so far, I have not been able to figure out how to go to the past and straighten things out. As I said, you have to then say, okay, what's the best thing I can do? The best thing I can do, as I said before, is to learn from it and make the appropriate changes, because it will come up again until you face that situation once again, or a similar situation, and say, aha, there that thing is again, that situation, there it is again. But this time I'm going to do it differently because of what I learned from the last time 2 years ago. So ladies and gentlemen, you have to remember this, and I keep on harping on this. And I always talk to you about, there comes time, here comes time again, there we are with time. You see me and hear me make those statements. And that's what I mean. That's what this is all about. You can't waste time on a journey that's going nowhere. And one of the journeys to nowhere is to go in the back of your life, go into the past, and try to beat yourself up and think that you can then change it. Like, for example, I go back and I almost sometimes magically think that if I think about it, and I think about the situation and what I did wrong, and then I think and pretend that I went back and satisfied that and handled it the right way and then moved on, that everything's going to be okay. But as I said again, it doesn't work that way. You have to understand how life really works. And that's really the summation of everything that I've said, is you have to understand how life really works. Not how other people tell you how it works, but how it really works. And it really works in only one direction, and that's going forward. The past is done. The past is dead. There's nothing you can do about it other than to learn from it. And the sooner you understand that, the better you're going to be, the more productive and happy you're going to be, because now you will go forth and live your life in a way that is aware of what the things were that you had done, but how you now have solved the issue by using what you've learned, and to go forward with a better life because you've now chosen the correct way of handling it. Ladies and gentlemen, I remind you to drink, and drink abundantly from the fountain of life. See you next time.